Welcome to Family Matters, another episode that will be able to learn things that will help improve our marriages and strengthen our marriages together. I believe that God's intention for us is to be able to live together in love, loving one another, caring for one another, and exalting God through our lives. I'm forever grateful that you constantly allow us the beginning of the month to come to your homes and just share the Word of God with you. And I believe that these sessions of Family Matters have been able to be a blessing to you, strengthen you, and you've been able to apply them in your life. Today we'll be learning another session that will be so grateful to us as couples, and not only to us as couples, but also in our own families. We can also apply the same principles that we are talking about today also into the lives of our children and establish our families. So today, let's get into the Word and see what actually God has prepared in store for us for this particular session. So I'm going to read from 1 Peter chapter 4 and verses 8, which says, "Above all things, have intense and unfailing love for one another, for love covers a multitude of sins. Forgiveness and disregards the offenses of others." That is from the Amplified Translation that actually adds to it. So from this particular verse, we are seeing that it is saying that above all things, have intense and unfailing love for one another. Here we are being encouraged that we need to be able to put love above all things, which means once we are married, there are things we like to do for one another, but actually let the motive be love. That's why we are being advised here by Peter that above all things have intense and unfailing love for one another. In other words, let the love of God be the drive or the motivation factor why we love one another, why we do what we do to our spouses, why we do it for one another. And then he goes on to say this, "For love covers a multitude of sins." In other words, it forgives and disregards the offenses of others. You know, when you get married, you realize that somebody or your spouse has some things that could be annoying to you, or has some things that could not be pleasing to you. But you know, if you look at your spouse and actually attend to your spouse with the same love of God, then you'll realize that even their shortcomings or the things that may irritate you or the things that may not please you will actually be covered with the love of God. The love that Peter is talking about over here is unfailing love, the unconditional love of God. Because when you walk in the unconditional love of God, you do not see the person for who they are based on what you expect, but you see them for who God sees them for who they are. And therefore, Peter is encouraging us today that we need to love one another with a God kind of love, which means we see them the way God sees them, not the way we see them. In other words, they may have shortcomings, yes. They may do things that may irritate you, yes. But with the love of God, you disregard all those shortcomings. You disregard all those things that may irritate you. Why? Because the love of God covers a multitude of sin, which means you understand why God loves you the way He loves you, irrespective of your failings and shortcomings. And so I came across some teachings that helped me a lot in my marriage with my wife. And we both went through these lessons actually before we got married, and we learned these principles that actually I'm going to share with you. And when we learned this, it helped us a lot because we never discovered or realized that actually each and every one of us has got a love language. There is a language that we share with one another, and this language is expressed, and that's how we express our love towards one another. And therefore, I'll be able to share with you these principles that we learned. And actually, it has been written by a gentleman by the name of Gary Chapman. He wrote a book called 5 Love Languages. And actually, you can purchase this book through Amazon and be able to go through it. And then also, if you go to their website, you can do actually a test. There is a test over there to help you figure out what is your love language. And if you go to 5languages.com, you can be able actually to do that test. It takes about maybe a minute or so, just answering a few questions, and will help you understand what is your love language. And once you understand your love language, share it with your spouse. And once you share it with your spouse, then you'll understand how they are expressing love. And if you understand how they are expressing love, then it is easier for you to be able to do everything based on the way they are expressing their love towards you. And when you do so, you are filling their love tank. And as a result of that, you'll realize that you'll not be focusing on the shortcomings, but actually you'll be focusing on the love that will be able to strengthen you. So now Gary Chapman writes these 5 languages, and I come to realize that it is important for us husbands and wives to actually develop knowledge of our spouses. The husband should develop a knowledge of the wife, and the wife needs to develop a knowledge of their husband. You need to learn and discover what is making my husband operate the way he operates, and what is making my wife operates the way she operates. We have to learn that. It is a study that we have to form within ourselves to help us. Now, these 5 languages, they are actually languages that help us to understand how our spouse receives love and also how they express love. And actually, they are categorized into 5. The first one is the quality of time. Another one is physical touch. Another one is receiving gifts. Another one is acts of services. And another one is words of affirmation. Now, this is not an order that they come through, but these are the 5 languages that have been researched that actually we are operating in each and every one of these. There's one of them that is stronger in your life, and then there's another one that is coming right behind it. You may not have all the 5 of them, but you need to focus on the first one and the second one that comes upon your life. There is a stronger one, and then there's one that comes through. If you go and do the test, it will help you understand which one you're strong in and then which is the second one. Now, this will help you understand your spouse's best, like I have said. A lack of understanding of your spouse's love language actually will lead you to having an unfulfilled expectation that will actually lead to frustrations. We have seen couples who are actually frustrated because they are having unfulfilled expectations. You expect your spouse to actually produce something that they are not able to produce, and then you become frustrated. But when you learn this, you understand their love languages, actually you'll be able to eliminate all those frustrations because all those unfulfilled expectations will actually be answered by their way of knowing their love languages. So let's start with the word of affirmation. The word of affirmation, these are actually people who like to use words to affirm someone else. So you'll find the spouse is always affirming their spouse. They are always complimenting them for everything that they do. You know, they may have made dinner, say, oh, I'm so grateful that you made dinner. It is a normal thing for them. And actually, you may think that they are overgoing by their compliments, but not. They are simply telling you that this is how I communicate my love, and this is how I express my love. And therefore, to you as a spouse, when you hear them say that, or when you hear her say that, it means that their love language is word of affirmation. They like to affirm. And therefore, they'll be complimenting for everything that you do, the work that you do, how you look, how you have dressed up, how you have done things. They compliment everything. And therefore, they always like to say that. And what you need to do as a spouse, pay attention and hear, does my spouse like to compliment nearly everything? And if they do, then their love language must be a word of affirmation. They like to hear, I love you. But you know what? They don't just like to hear, I love you. They want to hear the reason behind you say, I love you. So you'll hear them say, I love you helping, or I love you because you like helping with making dinner. You see, they went behind and told you the reason why they do so. So that makes them even become more excited because you are now not only understanding how they speak their love language and how they express it, but now you can also be able to express it back. Anytime you compliment them back, you are actually filling their love tank. And when you fill their love tank, they feel like their gas tank is full, and love will be the dominating factor in that particular marriage. Now we need to learn to talk to one another respectfully, but you'll realize that your spouse will be able to do that. Another love language that is in place is the quality of time. So we've understand the first one is the word of affirmation. They like to compliment everything that is done, but more so the reason they give you the reason why they compliment. And once you hear that, begin to speak back to them, not all the time, but once in a while when you compliment them back, they also realize that, oh, you are filling their love tank, and that will be able to strengthen your marriage. Now, quality time is the second one, and this language is all about giving the other person your undivided attention. They like to be, this spouse likes you to be in their presence. Always sit with me. Come sit down with me. Now let us walk together. Let us do things together. They are always liking you to be there with them. They like that quality time. And they want you to give it to them undivided. They don't want you to be there doing something else. No, they want you to sit there, talk with them. They want to look at you. They want them to look at them while you're communicating together, sitting down together, undivided attention. And therefore, being there for this person is important for them. With everything else turned off. If you're in the house, no TV, or if you're watching TV together, you could be talking about the show that is going. Why? Because they love the quality time. They want you to do things together with them. And whenever you do that, they feel that they're truly special and they are loved. That is how they express their love. That is how they speak their love. So if you find someone who's asking you, sit by me, come talk to me, and you may be like, why do I need to do that? That is how they express their love language, and that is how they feel that they can be able to receive love from you as their spouse. If you are distracted being with them, they are going to be really irritated, because distractions and postponements of dates that you had agreed upon, or failure to listen or pay attention to them, can be very hurtful to them. They don't like that. They always like for you to give them full attention while they're doing that. And so if you find a spouse who is always wanting you to be around them, sitting with them, they will like quality time, which means you now speak back to them also by getting yourself being with them, giving them your undivided attention. The third one is acts of service. For these people, action speaks louder than words. They like to walk around the house. You'll find them vacuuming. You'll find them cleaning things in the house. You'll find them mowing the yard. You'll find them cleaning the dishes. You'll find them doing laundry. They'll always find something to do, even if everything has been done. There is always something they have to do. That is someone who has a love language of acts of service. They like to express their love by serving. So they'll constantly serve something in the house. Now, the words that they like to hear is, let me do that for you. Because they are acts of service, they like to serve. They like to hear things like, let me do that for you. Let me help you do this. And when you do so, you are now helping fill their love tank. In other words, you are speaking back love to them. And when you're speaking back love to them, then guess what? Their love tank is filled up. And guess what? Any kind of shortcomings, any kind of things that you might have will be overseen. Why? Because love is now being placed at the highest point. So now when you're looking at this, you discover, is my spouse words of affirmation? Or is my spouse quality time? Or is my spouse acts of service? This is something you like to be able to identify and see what your actually spouse is speaking, what kind of love language. Now you've got to understand that these things make them feel actually loved and cared for. If these things are not done for them, they feel like there is no point of even you loving them. And you'll realize that even if your spouse, for example, has acts of service, you may affirm them and everything, but if you never help them do anything, they don't feel like you love them. Nothing is wrong with them. That's just how they express their love. The next one is receiving gifts. These are people who feel like they are most loved when they receive a gift. And the receiving of a gift here does not mean it's a big thing. It is something small. Could be a pen, could be a pencil, could be a gum. It could be candy, it could be chocolate. Whatever it is, what it simply tells them is like you went out of your way and you thought of them. So receiving a gift is actually the way they express their love language. And you'll find out that if your spouse is one of the people who have the gift of receiving gifts, they'll always have something to give you. They might come up and say, oh, I went to the store and I saw this and I thought about you. What are they doing? They are speaking to you their love languages. The fact that they received a gift, it makes them feel that they are loved and you had a thought about them. And you put in your effort to think about them. So they also feel cared for by the fact that you sacrificed either your time or your finances or whatever you did and went out of your way and brought a gift for them. This is how they feel it. And so if you miss their birthday, these are the people, if you miss their birthday or you miss their anniversary, it will be disastrous to them. There are some people, if you miss their birthday, it's not a big deal. You miss anniversary, it's not a big deal. But someone who is a person who has the gift of receiving gifts as their acts, as their love language, you miss their birthday, it is like hell broke loose. Why? Because they don't feel like you love them and you care for them and you appreciate them. And so once your spouse, you discover that this is who they are, you begin now to be able to do that. And you don't have to get a big gift. Just something to show that you are actually went out of your way to think of them. Like I said, could be chocolate, could be a candy, could be a pen, whatever it is that just made you know, let them understand that you went out of your way. Now the fifth one is physical touch. This language is actually not in or not confined into the bedroom. This is somebody who has nothing to say more than holding or being touched. This is somebody else who could be able to tell you, hold my hands, or give me a hug, or you'll find them giving you hugs, holding you, touching you. That is their love language. It is a physical touch. They are communicating to you that, you know what, they feel cared and loved by hugs and touch, and sometimes they'll say, rub my back or give me a massage. And you wonder, why do you want me to do this all the time? That is how they express love. Or sometimes they come and give you a massage and say, hey, quit touching me. Well, they are expressing their love to you, and therefore once you understand that, you are trying to help them out. This person is very touchy. Like I've said, they are very touchy. They like to give hugs. They'll be giving you a pat on your back. They like to hold hands and massages and hold you on your shoulder. And this is how they express their love to you. So if you can learn these languages in our marriages, it will help us understand who my spouse is, how they express their love, and how we need to reciprocate. So once you identify what love language is, then now you understand why your spouse does what they do, and then you reciprocate by understanding their love language. You don't have to do their love language every now and then, but every so often when you do it, it helps them understand that you care for them, and that is how you express it back to them. I believe if we do so, our marriages will be strong. Every effort that we've tried to put forth that makes us frustrated because we're not seeing the things that we believe or we are expecting will be able to be eliminated once we understand this love language. So again, remember, this has been written out in a book. You can read it in extent. It is called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And you can go online to 5lovelanguages.com and do the test over there to figure out what is your love language. Share it with your spouse, and once you do that, it will help you live a very good, vibrant marriage. I hope and believe that this episode has helped you learn something that you can actually learn and actually apply into your marriage and strengthen it as you are applying 1 Peter 4:8, which means above all, let love be the motive for everything that you do. If this was a great blessing to you, I believe and trust that you'll apply it into your life. Let us know if this has been a great help to you. We'll be more than glad to continue producing more and more for you. Otherwise, I thank God for you, and I believe that as you discover this, your marriage will never be the same. Stay blessed and have a wonderful time.